Hey everyone, and welcome to Vimoh Live. This is a live stream slash podcast that happens two times every week. Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. and Saturdays at 9:30 p.m. Today is November 2, Wednesday, and it's 9:30 p.m. 9:31 p.m. actually. I'm not feeling very well, and therefore the live stream will not be as long as it usually is, and it will probably end in 45 minutes. So it's 9:30 now. It will end at 10:15. I'm sorry about this, but if I was feeling better, I would have done it longer. And I'm only taking a look at the chats today. I'll be reading chats and answering questions. No callers will be taken. We can do that the next time we do live. By the way, I have an announcement that I will make at the end of it that you will find quite exciting. Let's see who all are here. Oh, by the way, if you are listening to this as audio at a later point of time, you're probably using Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Ghana.com, Geo7, etc. If you are doing that, find a way to leave a rating or a review of the show on your app because that really helps the show find new audiences. Thank you in advance. And if you want to support the channel, you can click the join button below and become a member. Members get some privileges like having their names highlighted in the chat and special emojis that they can use. So if that's your thing, then you can click the join button and become a member of the channel. Let's read some chats. Blue Panther says you should do live stream 3 times in a week or after every 2 days. Twice a week is not enough. अरे सर ये लाइव स्ट्रीम हफ्ते में 5 दिन होता था मंडे टू फ्राइडे but I could not maintain the pace, so I brought it back to two episodes. So in the beginning, I used to do live streams every single day on Instagram. Then I cut it down. Then I joined YouTube and I started doing once a week. Then I started doing twice a week. Then I figured I'll do 5 days a week. And then after doing 5 days a week for a long time, a few months, in fact, I did. I got drained, and it got to a point where I was saying the same things in every episode. सो आई ब्रॉट इट बैक टू 2 एपिसोड्स अ वीक। मेरी मेंटल हेल्थ के लिए 2 दिन ही में संतोष करना पड़ेगा आपको। नहीं तो मतलब इफ इट वाज़ नॉट दिस प्रॉब्लम देन आई वुड हैव डन इट एवरी डे। आई एम सो सॉरी। Hanaf Aziz says some people say legalizing weed is capitalist propaganda to make money out of drug addiction, while others say legalizing weed reduces racism. What is your opinion about this? I don't know if legalizing weed will reduce racism, but I think legalizing weed will definitely get rid of a lot of needless uh, prison sentences given to people who are in possession of weed. So I think generally speaking, it's a good idea. I'm not emotionally attached to weed like a lot of people. I see shows where someone says weed and then the audience goes woohoo. I don't have that reaction. I don't see any harm in legalizing it. I see some harm in keeping it illegal. So I think generally speaking it's a good thing, but I don't have strong feelings about it. Avarabilla says hi Vimo, long time no see. Hi Avarabilla. uh, Potato Shotato says get well soon Vimo, thanks. The Batman Begins says मुझसे अपना शेड्यूल लिखा कर दे दो भाई, जब से स्ट्रीम का टाइम चेंज हुआ तब से पता नहीं चलता है। बैटमैन बिगिंस स्ट्रीम का टाइम कब स्ट्रीम का टाइम चेंज हुआ, महीना 2 महीने हो गया है एक्चुअली। 9:30 बजे से शुरू होता है और जब तक चल सकता है तब तक चलता है, यूजुअली 1.5 आवर्स और 2 घंटा। बैटमैन बिगिंस says सब जगह रेटिंग्स दे देंगे। मनमत says डिड एनीबडी सी मेडुसा's एनटीपीसी वीडियो? आई डोंट नो व्हाट दैट इज। Oh yeah, the Miss Medusa's video, Dukhdarshan wala. No, I haven't seen the latest one. Vinod says, can a religious person be rational at the same time? Well, it depends on what you mean by rational. There are some people who say that the way rationality is used in the Indian subcontinent is, we use it for rationalism, right? So that's a different usage. But also, if someone has a religious worldview, for example, a Christian religious worldview, and they act completely in accordance with it, then they are acting rationally within their worldview. So, yeah, I think by that usage of the term, it is possible to be religious and rational at the same time. And if you are talking about rationality in the sense that, uh, you know, someone who's able to tell the difference between true and false. I think plenty of religious people are capable of being rational, and I would even say that almost every single religious person is rational about almost every single thing. The only thing they're not rational about is their own religion. because there are childhood indoctrination level things at work there. So that is a problem. uh, Akash says, Vinod kaun hai bhai? I have seen our ISRO scientists with tika on their forehead and talking about the satellites and science in an interview. Yeah. Are you talking about oh, okay, Akash is responding to Vinod. Okay, yeah. I think ISRO scientists with tika on their foreheads, like, so there is a general thing where scientists have uh, commitments to their religion on a personal level, and it shows sometimes when they're at work in a field which is not religious, but it still shows. I don't have a huge problem with it, and I am not even a huge fan of looking at a scientist with a tika and saying, how can he do this? Bhaiya sab karte hain. It's not something. The reason the scientist is religious is the same reason that you or someone else is religious. It's because of childhood indoctrination. बचपन में बता दिया कि ये तुम्हारा धर्म है, तुमको ये सब करना है, करते रहो. And it gets really deep into it, so deep that it coexists with scientific knowledge in the mind of a person who is in a scientific profession. Is it a good thing? I don't think scientists should publicly encourage religion. I definitely don't think so. But is it something that can be helped? Can a scientist, just because he's a scientist, stop being religious? I don't think so. If the person is religious, they will remain religious. It is up to them whether they want to display their religiosity or not. अरे उससे याद आया, last week there was a call in which someone called Aputa was there. At the end of our call, I said I think that person is Christian. He was not Christian. I should not have jumped to that conclusion. I'm sorry about it and I apologize. Right. The next question is Shri Harsha. He says, could very well be selectively rational. Yeah. Almost everyone is selectively rational. I have made videos about this. K says, do hold more lives where you take all questions and chat. Okay, do hold more lives where you take all questions and chat. Introverts like me can't do call. Smile tea. Yeah, I actually have been. So members, let me know what you think of this idea. I can do once a month members only live stream where only members are there and it's not public. So maybe people who are shy can come on screen and talk, even if they don't want to show their face, or even if they want to, if even if they find that in regular live streams their comments don't get that much time, they can just come on live streams and talk about it. The Batman Begins says, "What's your say on Morbi bridge collapse? Government saying the saving the ass of real culprits." Yeah, it's a terrible tragedy. I think it's quite possibly one of the worst tragedies that has happened in recent times with respect to bridge collapses. And it's shameful the way media is blaming the people who died. Like every time these, I don't want to use a swear word, every time these people, like, these anchors, Godi media anchors, open their mouth, I think इससे नीचे नहीं कर सकता कोई, इससे ज्यादा घटिया हरकत कोई कर नहीं सकता, इससे ज्यादा insensitive होना impossible है मुझे लगता है, but then they do it. There was this anchor who went to the hospital, found someone who was lying on a hospital bed, shoved a mic in their face because apparently she thought she's going to praise the prime minister because that's her job. And this woman said, मुझे एक बात का यकीन हो गया है कि हमारी सुनने वाला कोई नहीं है. And she quickly moves away. So yeah, and starts distracting, starts talking about something else. Her agenda was very clear. She wanted to hear praises of the prime minister from someone who's lying in a hospital. Distasteful and disgusting. Dhirubhai says cognitive dissonance is what enables the scientists to be religious. Yes. Agastya says technically folks in ISRO are engineers. So, oh, okay. I don't know if that's supposed to be a sick burn on the scientists or a technical detail that I missed. So I'll let it be. Surendra says you have expressed your problem with capitalism. According to you, what are the flaws of capitalism? My According to me, the flaw of capitalism primarily is that it is a system whose goal is profit, and that it puts profit above everything else. It puts profit above humanity. It puts profit above, uh, it puts profit over social justice. It puts profit over democracy. हमारे देश में इसका एग्जांपल देखने को मिल रहा है. There are really rich people who are putting their personal the need for personal gain above the democracy of the country itself. As long as paisa is being made, they don't care about anything else. And this, in some way, applies to all of capitalism. It's in the definition of capitalism. They think that the thirst for profit is a good thing, and that if you continue thirsting for profit, it will show up. It will make everything better, which it doesn't. That is my primary problem. The bigger problem I'll talk about in greater detail at some other time. I've spoken about this before, and right now I don't feel like going into it. Mm, the view is great on the back of this science high horse here. Huh? I don't know. Shreya says great idea about the members only live stream. Yeah, I've been thinking about it. Okay, let me plan it. Shri Harsha says that's a good idea, but I think you should make a post on this. It's been a while since you posted content in the member space. In the member space on the channel or on the Discord server. I'll make a post about this. Shreya says was talking about members only live stream. It wasn't clear enough. Okay. Dhananjay says, how are you optimistic about Rahul Gandhi's yatra? What's the point of Congress gaining power again when we already have experienced their incompetence? Is it worth it to compromise the fight to fascism with RG? Yes. When the choice is between fascism and anything else, the choice should be anything else. I don't know how anyone can say with a straight face that fascism is bad, but those people are kind of corrupt. If the choice is between, even like you can have plenty of problems with the Congress, right? And I do have plenty of problems with Congress, and I have written about it also back when Congress was in power, UPA was in power, but nothing compares to this shit. I'm not saying that the Congress should come to power. I'm saying no matter what the other alternative is, it's going to be better than this shit. मोदी नहीं तो कौन का जवाब होता है? कुछ भी ये नहीं चलेगा. This is like saying, uh, the last watchman used to be often found sleeping at the job, right? And 3 times every week, I used to see him sleeping at the job. But this watchman comes into my house and beats me every day. That's a really difficult choice to make. Who should I choose? The watchman who beats me every day or the watchman who used to fall asleep at the job 3 days a week? That's what this comparison is like. Hamza says, can't understand the true meaning of choice. Parents tell kids to wear hijab. If someone is living in that environment and wearing it after that, how can that be a choice? That choice is that person's choice. You don't get to make the choice for someone else. You don't get to tell people, hey, you don't do that because it's bad for you. Let them decide what is bad for them. You have the freedom to educate them about it. You have the freedom to talk to them about it. But to impose it as a ban will make things worse. Akash says Lula de Silva OP. I don't know what. I don't know what that is. Mm. Shreya says when the same thing happened in West Bengal before elections, Modi ji said that it is God's sign कि ये God के बारे में जिसके भी मुंह से निकलता है ना instantly वो अपने आप को discredit कर ही डालता है मेरे opinion में कम से कम. Said that it is God's sign that the government is doing a bad job and Mamta should be removed. अभी गुजरात में हुआ तो don't politicize it. You can see the thing about seeing meaning in things and trying to find God's intention in things is that it completely depends on what you want. Suppose tomorrow morning a bridge collapses near my house. Did it happen because a certain person entered the state? Because plenty of people entered the state. If I already hate a person, I can simply point at them that God did it because of that. तुझे कैसे पता God का intention क्या है? मुझे पता है. This is the fundamental flaw in religious reasoning. Of course, he was just giving a political speech, so I don't even think he was giving a religious reasoning. But yeah, it's problematic. Kaushal says, what is the progress on Yugantar? The progress on Yugantar is that I crossed 12,000 words this week. I am right now in the middle, or rather the end of chapter 7. Act 2 has begun and it's going swimmingly. Not as swimmingly, but swimmingly still. It's not stopped, it's going. Sometimes it slows down, sometimes it speeds up, but yeah, it's going. I've even found a writing partner. So I write with that person every day for 1 hour and it's going good. Diamond says, not writing partner for the project. They write their own thing, I write my own thing, but we both sit down quietly and write for 1 hour. Diamond number says, make a video about capitalism and its flaws in detail. इसके ऊपर बना सकता हूँ, किसी को गेस्ट को बुला के बात करना चाहूँगा. But if you want to learn more about the flaws of capitalism, you can watch a channel called Second Thought. Second Thought channel का नाम है. Just go watch all their videos, you'll get a good idea. Dhirubhai says, Vimoh, should we as a society tolerate the intolerant? If not, how do we deal with them? It depends on what kind of intolerance we're talking about, right? Intolerance for, you know, if intolerance means calls for genocide and hate speech, then we should not tolerate them. If intolerance means somebody uh, wants their language to be spoken in your state, you can talk to them about it. Because when we make a very blanket statement like we should not tolerate the intolerant, we make it very easy for people to misinterpret it. Because tomorrow you will say that I will not tolerate violence, and they will call you intolerant and say that we will not tolerate people who don't tolerate violence. So I think it is case by case. Manmat says, Raga proved me wrong. I thought he could not persevere through his long yatra, but he did. More power to. अरे अभी खत्म कहाँ हुआ है? More power to him. Something will change for good, I am sure. I agree. I think this is good for the Congress. Whether it turns out to be good for India remains to be seen. Shri Harsha says there is plenty wrong with the BJP too, but don't you think they are making a firm stand among global politics, talking specifically about the oil prices and European lectures? European lectures? I don't know what you're talking about. Firm stand among global politics is not something the BJP is doing. This has always been done. When was India's foreign policy weaker than it is right now? It is simple. Right now, it is not stronger foreign policy. It is simply more boisterous foreign policy. It is simply more showy. But we have always had great diplomats. We have always had great relationships with countries. We have almost never had to bear the consequences of our prime minister having a reputation that is laughable in the global community, which is the case right now. Shreya says, although I'm not a Kejri fan, this if not Modi, then who वाला question was answered best by him. ट्यूमर है बॉडी में तो उसको रिमूव करते समय ये तो नहीं पूछते ना कि हम कि इफ नॉट ट्यूमर देन व्हाट या आई डोंट यूज ट्यूमर एज एन एग्जांपल आई यूज डायरिया बिकॉज सम पीपल माइट एक्चुअली हैव अ ट्यूमर but if not like you have diarrhea, you go to the doctor and the doctor says मैं डायरिया तो तुम्हारा क्योर कर दूंगा पर डायरिया की जगह लाएंगा क्या एंड यू आर सेइंग कुछ नहीं मे बी आई डोंट नीड एनी डिजीजेस डॉक्टर एंड डॉक्टर सेज ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है कुछ ना कुछ तो चाहिए होगा एंड देन यू आर लाइक आई एम नॉट श्योर यू आर अ डॉक्टर. Srinivas says, how to talk to people who support, saying that we are from this caste and we are proud to say it, like how a normal person he, she is from a nation and what he, she like freedom to say. I have no idea what that question is. Second part, मुझे समझ में नहीं आया. The first part I can answer. It depends on who is saying it. Uh, Pride is useful when it comes from below because the goal of it is to equalize. Pride is damaging when it comes from above. And by above, I mean socially powerful categories. If take America for example, there are white people and there are people of color. White supremacism has been an oppressive force for a long time. There is pride. There are white supremacists who are proud to be white. There are also people of color who are proud to be proud to be people of color. When a white supremacist expresses pride, they are doing it in order to oppress. When a person of color expresses pride, they are doing it in order to emphasize the fact that there is nothing wrong with them and that the, the discrimination they face is what's the word undeserved. So there is a difference. Similarly, India mein upper caste pride or so called lower caste pride are different things. K says, my problem with Rahul and whatever he does is that it is evident he's not with the working class or marginalized communities. Just a few years back, he was boasting about being Brahmin. Caste is fascism. That is true. My problem with Rahul Gandhi is that he appears to have good intentions, but perhaps his way of expressing them is not always the best. Uh, I think when he said that I am Brahmin, he was speaking using the same words that many urban liberals will. Like they think that caste is somehow removed from the context of oppression. He doesn't understand it. I hope there are people around him who are able to educate him on this, because in the recent past I have seen him talk a lot about, when Hathras mein ye kaand hua tha Uttar Pradesh mein, Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi were on the ground. They faced off against the police. They tried to go and meet the family. And I didn't see a lot of people do this, including people who are supposedly more woke than Rahul Gandhi is. I'm not saying he's a great politician. I'm saying he has good intentions. Are good intentions enough? I don't know. We shall see. Srinivas says, nice to have people like you. Thank you, Srinivas. Nice to have people like you also. By the way, somebody became member. PNF, thank you for becoming a member. What does PNF stand for, man? Thank you for becoming a member. Really appreciate it. Slave to sneezes. Hmm. Akash says, thoughts on Bolsonaro's defeat in Brazil elections. Great thing. I hope every single one of these fascist leaders, fascist right wing leaders, is thrown out of power and that the world returns to some kind of semblance of a global community. Karan Singh says, but what if OAC, Mamta, Akhilesh, Thackeray are alternatives? Aren't they same? OAC, Mamta, Akhilesh, and Thackeray are all better than Modi. That's my opinion. Everyone hit the like button. Yes. Motador says, why the video quality has gone bad? I don't know. Has it gone bad? Wait, let me check the settings. No, the video quality is okay. I suppose it may be bandwidth issues, maybe from my end. My connection is okay. And maybe your connection is creating the problem. Akash says video quality is okay. Yeah. K says left party should be revived across India like in Kerala. They seem much more serious about fighting fascism than a BJP light party like Congress, which will probably be exactly like BJP once in power. I'm my position is that any party will be better than the BJP. Whether it is the left or the Congress remains to be seen, and I will make up my mind as time progresses. I think it is too early to call anything. I am hopeful that a good alternative political force will take shape as 2024 comes closer. When it does, we shall see. Sinister says, I understand that society thrives on culture. What is the need for culture at an individual level? See, this thing that, like, I think some time ago someone else also brought this up. I understand that morality is needed for society to be cohesive. What is the need for morality at an individual level? What is this individual level? I don't know what you mean by the individual level. There is no such thing as the individual level. On the individual level, you are interacting with people every day, and therefore, it's society functioning. If you are talking about a man stranded on an island, you are still talking about a man who came from other people and will probably want to return to other people. And if left with a person of if a man and a woman are left on an island, they will produce a baby perhaps, right? So it's every single thing we do creates culture and creates society and is a result of society also. There is no such thing as the individual level. Srinivas says, what is your opinion on Sadhguru? Don't like him, he's a charlatan. Surendra says, if you had capability to replace capitalism, with what would you replace it with? I would at least replace it with, socialism. Socialism is better than capitalism, in my opinion. Moderator says, very blurry here. Yeah, if it's blurry, then maybe, close the browser and restart maybe, and check your internet connection also. Dhananjay says, exactly, weaker policy right now. PNF says, what do you think of intelligence? Is it nature or nurture? This is a very good question, and I get this quite frequently because I don't know. Like, here's the thing. Uh, Regardless of what answer I give to this, it will make me happy. If I say that, uh, if you ask a person who you think is intelligent, and you say, how come you are intelligent? And they say, it's in my genes, right? They have set a standard that you can never meet, because how are you going to compete with their genes? If they say it's because of my own personal hard work, They will also feel good because they have worked so hard, and then now they're giving you a chance to work hard also. I think it's a mix of both. It's nature, but it's also nurture. Uh, to a large extent, I think it is nurture, because when we look at people who we think of as smart, we are looking at a whole lot of privilege. They had access to knowledge. They were encouraged to pursue it. They were not punished for pursuing it, which is, if you know what I mean, caste system. Sometimes people from certain castes are not encouraged to go into professions that require intelligence. Their lot is relegated to the background, where they are forced to do tasks that the so-called upper castes don't want to do. So in an atmosphere like this, a lot of intelligence is actually buried. And I think that if India did not have this system in place, we would actually be way, way, way ahead. Like all the people who talk about a glorious future, Vishwaguru, etc., will very often, sometimes, in fact, many times, will not have anything to say about the caste system, which is, in my opinion, the single greatest reason India is where it is. We have buried our intelligent people. We have prevented them from rising. We have uh, systematized their oppression in academic circles. So yeah, I kind of diverged a little bit, but yeah. Harsha says, I mean, Europe buying more oil than us, but being pushy and lecturing India on moral grounds. That has always happened. India was lectured when we did the nuclear test. India was lectured about its foreign policy before that also. Throughout the Congress years, even when Lal Bahadur Shastri was the prime minister, India was lectured about things. These things happen. At no point of time in history has this not happened. At no point of time in the future will it not happen. Countries deal with each other. There are disagreements. There are, people lecture you, you lecture them back. Stuff like this happens. There is nothing fundamentally different about the diplomacy that is happening right now. It's only more showy. Reels are being made about it. That's all that is different. Diamond number says, any better alternative for democracy? Democracy leads to majoritarian tyranny. Any better alternative to democracy? Not to my knowledge. Let's just put it that way. Because everything seems very utopian to me, and democracy seems like the best idea. Ajay says, what is the reason behind China becoming so developed and powerful in spite having more population than India, whereas India is nowhere near as developed? Uh, I think China did a good job pulling its masses. I think this question should not be sent to me. I have some very naive ideas about it, which I don't want to share because, this is something you can also do. Ask a foreign policy expert. Or maybe at some point of time, I'll read more about it and then I'll know more. Sumana says, US Supreme Court is taking away affirmative action apparently. भक्स को एक और रीजन मिल गया to criticize reservation. Yeah, so भक्स का रिजर्वेशन को लेकर जो criticism है ना, वो ऐसे भी कम नहीं होने वाला था. They will find excuses everywhere, and the US Supreme Court is gone for a generation. When it comes back, they will have a lot of healing to do, and yeah, Bhakts will use this. Spurious says, hinting towards anarchy with the diarrhea example. Chomsky के बारे में आपका क्या ख्याल है? I don't know what view of Chomsky you're talking about. Anarchy with the diarrhea example. No, the diarrhea example was about. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get it. You're saying कि the diarrhea example can be applied to it, right? If hmm, like if one system is there and people say ये system नहीं तो क्या, it's like saying diarrhea नहीं तो क्या. Well, I think that I don't know what to say about that honestly. I'll think about it. And in any case, आज दिमाग ठीक से काम नहीं कर रहा है. वैसे अभी और 15 more minutes left, after which the live stream will end. Thank you for joining everyone. I'll just remind everyone कि ये live stream actually काफ़ी लंबा चलता है. आज नहीं चल पा रहा है क्योंकि मेरी तबीयत ठीक नहीं है. Uh, there is a join button below which you can click and become a member of this channel like PNF has. And you can also send a super chat if you want to. Your contributions help me run this channel and do all the work that I do. Basically, you are the sponsors of my program. And if you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/Vimoh. There is a monthly scheme and an annual scheme, and you can join either. If you don't want to get into a monthly or an annual situation, you can simply go to my blog at vimo.stck.me and make a one-time contribution using the support button. Or you can simply send me money at Vimo at UPI. If you want to buy merch like t-shirts, hoodies, and mugs, you can go buy it at kadakmerch.com/vimolife. kadakmerch.com/vimolife. Thank you. And let's get back to the comments. We have 15 more minutes left. Hmm. अरुण says, किसके थॉट और बुक को पढ़ते समय अपने आप को न्यूट्रल कैसे रखते हैं और बिना उस थॉट के इन्फ्लुएंस में आए अपना ओपिनियन कैसे ड्राइव करें? किसी एक थॉट के इन्फ्लुएंस में ना आने का तरीका है दूसरे थॉट्स के प्रति अपने आप को एक्सपोज करो। कई लोग एक बुक पढ़ते हैं, उनको लगता है उस बुक में दुनिया का सारा ज्ञान है और फिर उसी को सच मानने लगते हैं। और फिर जब कोई कहता है कि ये झूठ है तो वो बोलते हैं तुझे कुछ नहीं पता, अच्छे से पढ़। ये रिलीजियस लोगों का भी होता है और कई बार ऐसे भी किसी रैंडम बुक को लेके भी होता है। कुछ लोग होते हैं जो कि एक टॉपिक के ऊपर एक बुक पढ़े होते हैं, बहुत इंप्रेस हो जाते हैं और दूसरे ओपिनियंस को लेके अपने आप को एक्सपोज नहीं करते। सो दूसरे बुक्स पढ़ो। द वे टू नॉट बिकम अ प्रिजनर ऑफ वन बुक इज टू रीड मैनी बुक्स। Vitruvian man says the nationalists believe that nation India or Bharat existed for a while even before prehistoric period. As per me, India is not a nation but a union of multiple nations. What is your view? I don't think India existed in prehistoric period. There is no evidence to support it. There may have been civilizations which existed that we are not aware of. Historians, archaeologists, anthropologists are all the time finding ruins of ancient civilizations. We have found ruins of ancient civilizations all over India, and none of it has anything to do with India as we know it right now. It doesn't even have anything to do with the religion that people want to think India has had forever. Those are all myths. But yeah, a union of multiple nations. I would call it a subcontinent because that seems to fit it best. It's a political union, but it's also a subcontinent with strains of culture spreading into other parts of South Asia. Hamza says, did Gandhiji want to stop Bhagat Singh and his ideology kind of movement because of violence? I don't think so. This is a myth and it has been busted by a person called Ashok Pandey. He has a YouTube channel and he has also written books about Kashmir. You should find him and you should read his work. Subhana says, I love explaining power structures with respect to math scores. If a kid failed in maths, says they are still smart is empowering, but if a kid scored 100 in math, claim it can be seen as arrogance. What? 100 math, claim it. If a kid failed in math, says they are still smart is empowering, but if a kid scoring 100 in math, claim it can be seen as arrogance. I'm not sure I understand. Sneha says stray dogs are dangerous after all. They should not be moving freely in streets. Government who TF is in power should take care of it either by creating shelter houses for dogs, etc., or anything else. I agree. We need to do more about. We need to create shelters for animals where they are taken care of. But the problem with saying stray dogs are dangerous is that some people will take it as license to hurt them. So I would be careful. I would be careful before I say such things. अरे ये स्पैमर लोग कहाँ से आ गए? Sneha says, Vimo, you got booster dose? Yes, Sneha, I got booster dose. It's just a cold, don't worry. Arun says, would a civilization exposed to beings of higher intelligence, gods? कहाँ गया? Would a civilization exposed to beings of higher intelligence, bracket में gods or aliens, rely on said higher intelligence to come to conclusions about the world? It may, depends on the kind of higher intelligence it is. If there was a civilization of beings who could be comparable to gods or even aliens who are really much more advanced than us, it would depend what information they convey to us. It would depend what they say to us, and it would also depend on how that information would change our lives. For example, we have known for quite some time that fossil fuel burning is damaging for this planet. But the reason we don't do anything about it is because there are economic cycles at work. People are making huge amounts of profit because of it, and therefore they don't want it to stop. So even if aliens give us a lot of gyan, it is not guaranteed that we will take action on it. It will depend on how willing we are to accept it. Mm. Karan Singh says, so Vimo, you are currently an agnostic voter. Nope, I'm not an agnostic voter. I definitely know who not to vote for. Zwaishin says, what do you think of beer biceps? I think he is either a content creator who knows that he's spreading misinformation but continues to do so because that's what gets him views, or he's extremely misinformed and silly. Hmm. Hold on. ये क्या था? Hmm. Avinash has sent a super chat of 100 rupees. Thank you, Avinash. He says, your view on disrespect to the national flag in theaters. I don't know what disrespect you're talking about. Has someone done something in the theaters? I don't know. Vitruvian man says, what is Sanatan Dharma? I don't understand it. Every guru is telling its own meaning. Yeah, I don't understand it either. Apparently, when you tell people that the Hindu religion had no real existence in the uh, lit and to हमारे literature of antiquity like Bhagavad Gita and stuff, they say that yeah, so what? It was Sanatan Dharma, and they find the word Sanatan in some scripture, and they say that see that is proof that Sanatan Dharma existed. But Sanatan Dharma simply means if Dharma means duty, Sanatan means eternal. It means eternal duty of some sort, right? I think it's working too hard to make something have meaning. It's simply better to say that India had a lot of a lot of cultural beliefs spread out across the subcontinent, and that's it. It's all Bharatiya itihas. You can call it Bharatiya itihas if you are hung up on Sanskrit language. But you you're right to say that every person you ask will have a different meaning of Sanatan Dharma. There is nothing consistent about it. What they want to say is Indian culture. But if they say Indian, they will have to bring in everyone else, and they don't want to do that. They want to make a distinction between what we know to be Hindu right now and non-Hindu, like Muslim, Sikh, Buddhist, Christian, etc. They don't want to think of the other categories as Indian, so they take their religion and they associate it with uh, all of Indian antiquity. Shreya says George Bernard Shaw defined it best, in my opinion. Democracy is a device that ensures we shall be governed no better than we deserve. Shreya says, I think Raga doesn't really identify himself as a Kattar Brahmin. Same goes for Kejri being religious. ये सब बोलना पड़ता है. Thoughts, belief ऐसे overnight नहीं change होते. There is always a reason. I think I understand the motivation behind it, but I don't think even if the motivation is understandable, the thing is right. That's my position. Mm. Nazreen says greetings and says about my sneezing. I guess no one here will say God bless you for that sneeze. Hmm. Um, Vikas says without private sector or capitalism, world कैसा होगा? Star Trek देखो वैसा होगा. There's plenty of there are plenty of visual cues and if you want to see what the world will be like. Star Trek देखो Star Trek जैसा होगा. Harsh says take care Vimo. Screen time isn't good when you're having yeah I know I was actually off screen the whole day. But चूंकि मैंने डिक्लेयर कर दिया था कि 9:30 बजे लाइव स्ट्रीम होगा इसलिए मैं लाइव स्ट्रीम कर रहा हूँ. We have 5 more minutes after which I will end the live stream. Uh, Nazneen says, "Young men are more dangerous than stray dogs. They should all be. They should also not be roaming freely in the street." Yeah, human beings are actually more damaging to human beings than dogs are. Think about it. If danger is the only criteria, then why are we making a distinction? Knight says, "Vimo, I think you missed my comment." Knight, this is the first comment by you that I'm seeing. Wait, let me look. Ah, Vimo, what do you think about restricting feeding of stray dogs by societies? A person having a pet dog or cat will never even think about doing this. I think it's a horrible thing. I think some animals live within human society and have protections by human beings. And when we take away protections from them, we are proving ourselves to be dicks. I don't think this is good. But yeah, good comment. I don't know how I missed that, man. Sorry about that. Um, Shrey says, I don't understand being touchy about the flag. यूएस वाले अपने फ्लैग का चड्डी भी बना लेते हैं बट एवरेज इंडियन से तो ज़्यादा ही पेट्रियोटिक है. हमारा पेट्रियटिज्म सिर्फ नेशनल हॉलीडेज तक होता है. हमारा पेट्रियटिज्म सिर्फ सिंबल्स तक सीमित है. The genuinely patriotic person would care about other human beings who live in that country, right? नहीं, हमसे वो नहीं होगा. हम बस गाने, झंडे, बिल्डिंग, स्टैचू, यहीं तक हमारा सब पेट्रियोटिज्म है. Hmm. Abhishek says atheists, usually oppressor caste, poke merely at logical fallacies of religions, where Baba Sahib points out how Hinduism is dehumanizing large chunk of its followers. Yeah, मेरे को बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है from the category of people who call themselves Hindu atheists. Hindu atheists. I have said so many times on this live stream that our atheism has to stem from an awareness of the social damage that religion does, and not simply about its irrationality. एथिज्म हिंदू अपर कास्ट जो लोग होते हैं उनके लिए एथिज्म बहुत आसान है. उनसे ज़्यादा मुश्किल पाकिस्तानी मुसलमानों के लिए, पाकिस्तानी एथिस्ट के लिए है. बिकॉज व्हेन दे से देयर एथिस्ट दे एक्चुअली फेस डेंजर. तुम एक एवरेज अपर कास्ट हिंदू फैमिली में बोलोगे मैं भगवान को नहीं मानता, कोई कुछ नहीं करेगा. तुमको सच में अगर अपने आप को रिस्क में डालना है, सच में कुछ डेयरिंग करना है, तो कास्ट सिस्टम को अपोज करके दिखाओ. ये बोल के दिखाओ द कास्ट सिस्टम हैज इट्स रूट्स इन हिंदुइज्म. These are the places where it is coming from, and I reject it, and I reject these holy books. Then see what happens. Then see how your family reacts. तुमको नहीं बोल रहा अभिषेक, जिसकी बात तुम कर रहे थे उनको बोल रहा हूँ. Abhishek said, I think Baba Sahib's approach is more direct, thus more effective. I agree. Akash points out very accurately that Bangalore was IT hub before 2014. Ambani was Arabpati before 2014. Tata भी 2014 से पहले. Yeah. Right, so we are at the end of today's live stream. Sorry, people. My head is also starting to throb. I can't continue anymore. मुझे किसी ने पूछा था मैं कंसिस्टेंट कैसे होता हूँ. मैं कंसिस्टेंट होता हूँ इसीलिए. अगर एक बार मैंने प्रॉमिस कर दी तो मेरी कोई नहीं सुनता. That was the dialogue, right? What Salman Khan said. But yeah, thank you for joining today's live stream. And before I go, is उल्लू के पट्टे को टाइम आउट करना पड़ेगा. इनफैक्ट ब्लॉक ही कर देना चाहिए था. There's this person who appears to be a trad. Just comes and says random cruel shit. Dhirubhai says, as George Carlin said, I leave the symbols to the symbol-minded. I hadn't heard this. It's quite funny. Okay, so that was it. And I shall now end today's live stream. I have an announcement, by the way. Hold on. But coming Wednesday, there will be a guest. And I think you'll like them. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I have a big guest on the coming Wednesday. It will be a proper podcast. We will talk to them. I will announce the thing in advance. And if you want, you can leave your questions in the chat after it is announced. After the scheduled thing turns up on the channel, you can leave. You can leave your comments there, and we shall see. That will be next Wednesday. Today is November 2. This will happen on November 9. So the November 9 live stream will be with a guest. This Saturday, I don't know if I'll be doing a live stream. Most probably I will, but I think a lot will depend on my health. So we shall see. I expect the coming 2 days to be a little more headachy, but we shall see. Again, thank you everyone for joining today's live stream, and I thank you for it. The next time I will see you will either be on Saturday or next Wednesday when I will be here with our special guest. Thank you. Bye-bye.